Hippity hoppity, hippity hoppity, hippity hopping over hill and dale.
If you remember even half of these 18 things, you survived America's last truly free decade. No helmets, no seatbelts, no digital anything. TV signed off with the National Anthem, and kids played with cap guns without panic. Born in the 50s or 60s, 3 of these will remind you how much freedom we've lost. Comment your birth year. I bet there's one you forgot. Until now. Moon landing, 1969. You weren't just watching history, you were living it. It was July 20th, 1969. Families huddled around their console TVs, eyes locked as Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon, black and white screen, crackly audio, and a moment that felt bigger than America itself. For a generation raised on model rockets and comic books, this wasn't sci-fi, it was real. Some kids wore astronaut pajamas to bed that night. Others built cardboard ships in their backyard. Even if you didn't understand the politics, you felt the pride. The moon landing wasn't just a national achievement. It was a childhood memory etched in the stars.
Our national anthem.
TV sign-off with National Anthem. At midnight, America went quiet. No more shows, no late-night talk, just a waving flag, the star-spangled banner playing through a grainy screen, and then static. It was how every day ended, not with a click or scroll, but with reverence. Kids sat cross-legged on shag carpet half asleep, watching the anthem fade into snowy silence. Parents turned off the console, and the house slipped into darkness. There was something final about it, comforting even. It told you the day was done, and tomorrow would begin with cartoons, not chaos. When TV signed off, so did the country, together. Console television. Sets back then, your TV wasn't just electronics, it was furniture. A big wooden box with a screen, so heavy it took 2 grown men to move it, turn the knob and wait. A warm glow would bloom from the darkness. The volume had a soft hum. The channel selector clicked like a safe dial. There were maybe 3 channels, but every show felt like an event. Families gathered after dinner, sitting close, sharing laughter and news. No phones, no distractions. Just one glowing box bringing everyone together, and when it finally shut off with that little white dot, that meant the night was over. Drive-in theaters. Long before Netflix, this was movie night. A blanket in the back seat and popcorn under the stars. You'd pull in early, roll the windows down, and hang that metal speaker on your door. Sometimes the sound crackled, but no one cared. Kids wore pajamas, parents sipped Coke, and couples held hands in silence. All around you, headlights flicking off, laughter from nearby cars, the smell of motor oil and buttered corn. It wasn't just about the film, it was the feeling of being out late, in your own little world, under an open sky. A date, a family night, a rite of passage. Party line phones. In the 1960s, privacy was optional, especially on the telephone. Pick up the receiver and you might hear Mrs. Taylor already deep into gossip with someone 2 blocks over. Party lines meant you shared your phone connection with strangers. You had to wait your turn, or just quietly listen in. Kids learned early to recognize neighbor voices and when to hang up or not. You could hear birthdays, arguments, even breakups unfold in real time. It was frustrating, hilarious, and weirdly intimate. Ever eavesdrop on a neighbor's drama? Drop a name or story below, we won't tell. No seatbelts and station wagons. We didn't ride, we roamed. Back then, kids weren't strapped into booster seats. We piled into the back of station wagons like luggage, stretched out on sleeping bags, facing traffic through the rear window. Seatbelts? If they existed, they were buried under French fries and coins. We played card games on long drives, bounced with every bump, and leaned out windows with the wind in our teeth. It wasn't reckless. It was freedom. And somehow, we all made it just fine. Every scratch was a story. Every road trip felt like an adventure in a moving clubhouse with wheels. Tang orange drink. Before energy drinks and hydration powders, there was Tang. That bright orange powder sat in nearly every kitchen cabinet, and it tasted like space-age success. Why? Because NASA sent it to the moon. Every kid felt like an astronaut stirring up a glass. Did it taste like real orange juice? Not even close. But it didn't matter. We drank it cold, warm, with ice, or straight from the spoon. Moms bought it in giant canisters. It was breakfast, science, and childhood all in one. If you still remember the taste, odds are you grew up dreaming big. Swanson TV Dinners. TV dinners didn't just feed us, they changed how we ate. No more gathering at the dinner table. Now we had fold-up trays, flickering screens, and a full meal in a tin tray. Meatloaf, corn, mashed potatoes, and that mysterious brownie that could melt steel. Everything tasted the same, but we loved it. It felt modern. It felt American. You'd peel back the foil, burn your tongue, and keep going. Because dinner was no longer just food, it was a show. And back then, nobody complained about sodium. We just tuned in, dug in, and called it progress. Banana seat bikes. Freedom had a banana seat. Long and padded, they stretched across bright metal frames, paired with tall handlebars that made every kid feel like Evel Knievel. You didn't just ride one, you owned the sidewalk. Some had streamers, others had spoke cards or baseball cards flapping like engines. And if your bike had a sissy bar, you were the king of the block. We painted them, swapped parts, and pushed them to their limits. No helmets, no knee pads, just bare legs and scraped elbows. That wasn't danger. That was growing up fast, and on two wheels. World Book Encyclopedias. Before Google, we had a full library, right there in the living room. A shelf lined with thick, gold-lettered World Book Encyclopedias. They weren't just for homework, they were a symbol. Your parents didn't just buy knowledge, they bought opportunity. We'd flip through the pages, chasing dinosaurs, planets, or how things work diagrams. Sometimes we looked things up, and sometimes we just looked. And that sound, when the book snapped shut, that was the sound of childhood discovery. We didn't need Wi-Fi, we just needed a quiet room and a little curiosity. Soda fountains. The soda fountain wasn't just a place to grab a drink. It was where stories were shared over a cherry Coke or a chocolate phosphate. You slid onto a red vinyl stool, watched the fizz pour from the spout, and waited for that first cold sip. The clink of glass, the hum of conversation, the smile from the soda jerk. It wasn't fast. It wasn't disposable. It was yours, a neighborhood ritual. And somehow that drink always tasted better when you were shoulder to shoulder with friends. Back then, even something as simple as soda felt like magic. Green stamps. Remember licking those little green stamps and sticking them into booklets? It wasn't just a shopping gimmick, it was a family ritual. After every grocery trip, Mom would hand you the stamps. You'd sit at the kitchen table, carefully filling each page. Then came the big day, redemption. You walked into the catalog center and browsed like royalty. Toasters, blenders, toys, all paid for in glue and patience. We didn't need credit cards, we had stamps and dreams. That moment you peeled the last stamp and closed the book. Felt like winning the lottery without spending a dime. Ed Sullivan Show, Beatles. February 9th, 1964. If you were there, you remember where you sat, who was with you, and how the room just stopped. The Beatles appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show, and America changed. For 13 minutes, every kid was glued to the screen. Parents didn't get it. We didn't care. We were witnessing the start of something ours, that first chord, the screaming, the haircuts. It wasn't just music, it was a cultural earthquake. And if you saw it live, you've got a front row seat to one of the biggest generational shifts in history. Cap guns and toy weapons. We didn't need video games. We had 6 shooters, holsters, and endless imagination. Cap guns cracked like thunder, tiny paper rolls exploding with each pull. The smell of burnt powder? That was the smell of summer. Every backyard became the Wild West. We were sheriffs, outlaws, and heroes. No one called the cops, no one panicked. We weren't training for violence, we were playing pretend. And somehow, we grew up just fine. Today, you can't even say gun in school. But back then, every kid holstered up by breakfast. And the only thing that got hurt was your pride if you missed. Paper maps and gas station service. Before GPS told us where to go, we figured it out, with giant paper maps sprawled across the dashboard. Dad squinted, Mom pointed, and somehow, we made it. Getting lost wasn't a failure, it was part of the adventure. And when you pulled into a gas station, teen boys in crisp uniforms ran out, checking oil, washing windows, pumping gas with a smile. No self-serve, no card reader, just service with a "have a nice trip." It wasn't just about getting somewhere, it was the journey, filled with wrong turns, family laughs, and strangers who actually talked to you. Playing outside until dark. Back then, we didn't schedule play dates. We just went outside. No phones, no supervision, just mud, scraped knees, and the thrill of chasing fireflies with a mason jar. The whole neighborhood was your playground. Bikes, kickball, hide and seek, until your mom's voice echoed down the block, or the porch light came on. That wasn't just a signal to come home, it was a silent promise. You were safe, you were trusted, you were free. And the best part? Nobody tracked you, nobody worried. The world felt big, but we belonged to it completely. Kids today wouldn't understand it. And maybe that's the saddest part. TV test patterns. Before 24-hour cable, your TV actually shut off. When the late movie ended, you'd hear the National Anthem, then silence. Up came the test pattern, that odd bullseye with a high-pitched hum. It wasn't just a screen, it meant the day was done. For some, it was a cue for bed. For others, just eerie, especially if you fell asleep and woke to it at 3 a.m. Kids today will never know the strange comfort of that sound. When TV called it a night, so did America. And somehow, it made everything feel more real. Slide projectors. Before camera rolls and cloud storage, there were Kodak slides and a humming projector. Dad would dim the lights, the family gathered, and that first click lit up the wall with summer vacations, birthdays, and crooked smiles. You'd hear laughter, groans, and someone always shouting, "You're blocking the screen." It wasn't just photos, it was proof that those memories mattered. And when the tray jammed or the bulb blew, we didn't mind, because for a few minutes, the whole family was together, sharing stories, not screens. Some of the best moments weren't in the pictures, they were in the room. We didn't grow up with smartphones or streaming. We grew up with freedom, imagination, and a world that didn't hand us entertainment. We created it. If you remember even half of these, you didn't just live through the 1960s, you earned it. Comment your favorite memory, and which one you'd bring back if you could.